On today's show, the schedule for the LA Clippers 2024-25 season is now out, and we're going to be reacting to it right here on today's Locked On. Let's see what we got in store, Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and going into my 20th season as a Clipper fan this fall. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to let me know what your reactions were or what your reaction was to the schedule, the key dates. We're going to be talking about all those in this one. But before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals on tickets last minute to an event. All you got to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Now, let's get right into it, like our new stadium that just opened up on Thursday. I was seeing some pictures, some videos of what it looked like for the Bruno Mars concert, the ribbon cutting. You had Derrick Jones Jr., Trenton Flowers, Kai Jones in attendance, so it was great to see some Clipper personnel there, some Clipper media there, Steve Ballmer and Ty Lue cutting the ribbon, and it is official. We have our own home, and it is open for business, baby. I mean, are you kidding me? It's special. And from what I was told yesterday, it was an amazing event. The acoustics were great. There were some complications in the beginning with the face scanning, and apparently you have to download an app. I don't know how much I like that. They have to download an app to go to the game. So we'll see working out the kinks with that. But they look like a cluster of people in the 310 bar, one of those little pick and roll, scan your face, get something, and walk out, which the whole objective of that, and Steve Ballmer wants, is to spend very little time getting something, whether it be a drink, whether it be going to the bathroom. He wants you to be back in your seat where the game is the focus. But it was looking like a lot, before that concert started. But we will see how the kinks are worked out in these first couple of events with these concerts. And then we'll see in the preseason when we get going, and, of course, opening night. And speaking of opening night, that brings us to our first topic, which is key dates for this upcoming season. Now, before we get into the key dates, I honestly think the first thing is the amount of morning games, the afternoon matinee games that everybody seems to dread so much. This season, because this is an important schedule release, because this is the first time we have had our own stadium in the last 25 years. So we don't have to be the third wheel in the Staples Center when it comes to scheduling. Now, I'm happy to inform you that the Clippers will not have any afternoon home games this year. Now, for some of you listening, you might say, that sucks because that's actually when I can go. I really am sorry for those people, because I think that we should have a couple a season, just not as much as we've had in the past. But to be honest, and I'm going to talk about it later, that whole morning excuse thing I'm super tired of. Brian Seaman agrees with me on that, by the way. But I do feel bad for the people that get to go to, those are the games that they get to go to, which is those morning games, and they're not going to be able to. But I like the night games, so it's pretty convenient for me. Also, with my coaching exploits at the youth level, a lot of the games are for these kids on weekend mornings, so I would have been cooked for those games anyway, so it's actually much better for me. Now, opening night, we already talked about in the last episode. We're playing the Phoenix Suns at home on Wednesday, October 23rd. Tickets are going crazy for that right now. I'm seeing the lowest price ticket is like $150, unless you have like a wall pass or part of the supporters section. So what I'm noticing, by the way, Clipper Nation, and I want to just inform you right now, because this is a show for the local crowd as well as it is fans from across the world, but primarily for you Clipper fans that attend games, The best thing to do and what the Clippers want you to do is to invest in these plans, whether it be a wall pass or the supporter section, because those are the best deals. Those are the actual good deals. The other ones, they may come with some perks, but the other season ticket holder options and the single game ticket options are going to be very expensive this year, being that we're opening a new stadium, or given that we're opening a new stadium. So those are the ways to go. And like one of the things I've always tried is StubHub resale always works really well for the Clippers, but you can't resell tickets from the wall. So if you want to be on the wall, you probably won't be able to find those on like StubHub or something. So it's going to be a little complicated. So moral of the story, the wall passes and the supporter section, those kinds of things are the way to go if you want to save money and get the best deals. But anyway, first game's looking like it's the Suns, and it's looking very expensive. That'll be on ESPN Wednesday. Now, these are the first 10 games of the season. We got Denver on the road next, so we see Russell Westbrook right away on that Saturday. That'll be tough. Then we have a back-to-back. The very next night, we play Golden State at Chase Center. I am not high on Golden State this year. We could definitely get a win there. Then we return home for 3 games, Portland, Phoenix, and OKC. It would be nice to get at least 2 of those 3 games. So the Portland Trailblazers are the second team to come to the Intuit Dome, and I think that game you will see a lot of diehards there because the tickets won't be as overpriced. So that right there is the first 6 games. I'm sorry, we also have San Antonio. We have a 5-game homestand after those first 2 road games. So get this. We have Portland on Wednesday, October 30th. We have a back-to-back the next night against Phoenix on Halloween. Saturday, November 2nd, we play OKC. And then San Antonio on November 4th. And Philly, Paul George's return to end the homestand on November 6th. So 5 straight home games after 2 road games in a row, which are after our opening night game. So it goes opening night game, 2 road games in a row against Denver and Golden State on a back-to-back, and then 5 home games in a row, and then at Sacramento, and then a home game against Toronto. Those are our first 10 games. So rapid fire, I'm going to just give you my prediction for the first 10 games. I don't like looking ahead this much, by the way. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a very one game at a time kind of guy, as you all know by this point. But I'm very 1 week at a time with my life, too, sometimes to a fault. So I'm going to go with we beat Phoenix. We lose to Denver on the road, but see Kawhi. Is Kawhi going to play against... See, if we're going to have to load manage Kawhi for that, I would say don't play against Denver and let's just go all out against Golden State. Because I don't know if we can beat Denver even with Kawhi. Because that might be their home opener. I don't know. I haven't checked the schedule. So let's just say we go 2-1 after those first 3. Beat Portland. That'll be 3-1. It's crazy that we play both games against Phoenix at home within the first 8 days of the season. That's just wild to me. Or the first 8 days of our season. Both times that Phoenix will come to the Intuit Dome will be done by October. That's crazy. But I'm just going to say, because I'm a Phoenix Suns hater, we're going to win both games against them. So we'll be 4-1. Then let's say we lose to OKC, 4-2. Beat San Antonio, 5-2. Definitely got to beat Paul George, 5-3. Let's say we lose to Sacramento on the road, 5-4. And then we beat Toronto, 6-4. I would honestly be satisfied with that. And the West is going to be another competitive conference that everyone's going to be, beating up on one another. So I think it'll be similar to last year where there won't be a 60-win team. It'll be a lot of teams around the similar records. Now, the Lakers. This is important. We will host the Lakers at the Intuit Dome January 19th and February 4th. That will be the first time we really host a game against the Lakers at our own palace. Now, when will be our first games back at Staples Center or Crypto.com Arena against the Lakers? Well, those will be on February 29th. So we got a leap year this year, and March 2nd. So literally, let me check if those are back-to-back games because that's very close to one another. It is. We literally play the Lakers, both games at the Lakers house. It is technically their house now. It's the King's house first, though. It was built for them. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But back-to-back. One of them's on ESPN. By the way, so this guy got the dates wrong or ESPN had the dates wrong? Because it says February 28th we play the Lakers, not February 29th. But I don't know. Regardless, we're playing them back-to-back. I've never been to a Laker game against the Clippers. It's just so expensive. But right now it says tickets are as low as less than 100. So that's not too bad. Am I sitting in the nosebleeds for a Clipper-Laker game, rooting for the Clippers? I don't know. Might be fun to go with a friend of mine that's a Laker fan or something. But here's something I found interesting. We play 4 straight home games from January 19th to 25th, and those games come against the Lakers, Bulls, Celtics, and Bucks in that order. Now, 3 of those teams are pretty good, are very good, and I'd say the Lakers are good. The Bucks and the Celtics are very good, and Chicago's going to be terrible because they lost DeRozan. I think their best player at this point is either Kobe White or Vucevic. It's going to be Kobe White. They're going to be bad. There's something about those 3 teams, though. Lakers, Celtics, and Bulls. They're the 3 teams that come in and they actually have as many fans as ours, if not more, during the games. They're the only. There's a narrative out there that happens with other teams more at Clipper games, but it's not true. Those are the only 3 teams that happens, and Laker fans take over arenas everywhere. I saw a Lakers jersey at a Celtics game at TD Garden. So it's just funny that those 3 games are going to be back to back to back at home. I don't know how many of those I'm going to attend. We'll see. But this is the last thing I want to say when I talk key dates. We still have a Grammy trip. I figured that a Grammy trip would not be had because we don't play at the stadium where the Grammys are hosted, but we still have a 7-game road trip in February. February 20th at Milwaukee, at Indiana, February 23rd. That's a back-to-back because the next night we play Detroit in Detroit. Then at Chicago, February 26th. And actually, it's not even that long of a trip on the road because we come back and play the Lakers twice at their home floor, and then we play the Suns in Phoenix after. So it's a 7-game road trip, but it's not like your typical Grammy trip where we play like 7 games on the East Coast. And that's our longest road trip of the season. But coming up, I know you're wondering about the back-to-backs number. That's so important. How have you not mentioned it? Going to be talking about it coming up in our disadvantages of the schedule. Stay around. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets for any sport, but right now it's all about the MLB. And Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. So if you want to wait, that actually will work in your benefit on Game Time. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more on Game Time, and save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked On Rockets, recently had PJ Tucker on the show, literally a member of our team. So go check that out. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, so now the disadvantages of the Clippers schedule, starting with the number of back-to-backs, and I hate to break it to everyone, but we have not gotten a, great hand. We've not been dealt a great hand on this. And I know what people are thinking. How do we move into a new stadium and we still have the most back-to-backs? Well, listen, did you want no matinee games or did you want no back-to-backs? Because there was always going to be a number of back-to-backs. Obviously, the fact that we have the most in the league. But here's what people are going to just complain about without the context, the full context. We do have the most back-to-backs in the league with 16. But you know who else has 16 back-to-backs? The Atlanta Hawks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Denver Nuggets, the Houston Rockets, the Milwaukee Bucks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings, and the Washington Wizards. So 11 out of 30 teams, nearly half the teams in the league, have the same number of back-to-backs. Like, there is really nothing to complain about, but we do have the most, tied for these other teams, while 6 teams are tied for the fewest. And besides Magic, Trailblazers, and Mavericks, the 3 media darlings, I don't know how much the Bulls are anymore, but the Bulls, Celtics, and Lakers have the fewest. Golden State I should have included in there, but they're not in there. The Lakers having the fewest and us having the most kind of pisses me off, but whatever. I don't really care. Like, I'm not super into the whole Laker-Clipper thing. I think it's super media and fan-driven, and, like, we've never played them in the playoffs. So, like, I've had no moments where the Lakers have broken my heart. Just their fans are a little annoying. And it sucks being second fiddle, but I chose to be second fiddle. I chose to be a fan of this team. So, like, I could have been a Laker fan, and I could be a Laker fan tomorrow. I would lose respect, though. And I would, like, that's morally incorrect for me. I can never jump ship for any of my teams. I'm Rams, Kings, Clippers, Dodgers, and Chelsea FC and LAFC for life. Although I'm not as tribal with the LAFC, with MLS, because I don't watch too much. But anyway, so the back-to-backs thing, like, I mean, it's a disadvantage. I can't lie. But the fact that we have no morning games, like, we weren't going to get both, I don't think, right? No morning games is crazy. We have one road afternoon game, no home ones. Outside of that, and this stat comes courtesy of Justin Russo, beat writer for the Clippers. By the way, there's a rule that's saying teams won't play the day before or the day after high-profile national TV games this season, but that's complete BS, and it was proven by several people commenting under those tweets. But the NBA is trying to get rid of 4 and 5s, 4 games in 5 nights, because those are honestly just as bad as back-to-backs, if not worse. So they're trying to reduce that. Now, the Clippers, according to positive residuals, strength, they're at residual on Twitter, strength of schedule metric, which, according to Justin Russo, factors travel, rest days, rest advantage/disadvantage, opponent, altitude, and more. The Clippers are tied for the second toughest strength of schedule behind the Blazers. I can't lie to you, though, those first 10 games are tough. You know what I'm saying? They are tough. We're playing a lot of playoff teams in there, playing Denver on the road, playing Phoenix twice. Phoenix is not a slouch. I'm not scared of them at all, but they're no slouches. And there's not really that many slouches. There aren't that many slouches in the NBA, especially in the West. The parity right now is you know, as good as it's been since the 70s. Maybe even better. These are also the dates in which there will be an NFL game at SoFi and an NBA game at the Intuit Dome. It's only 2 days. Chargers, Bengals, and Clippers, Jazz happening on the same day, and the Bengals game will probably be ending around an hour and a half before the Clipper game tips off. So it will be a cluster F that day. And then December 8th, maybe a game I won't go to, but I do love going against the Trash because it's a cheap ticket and I hate them. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. My boss is a Jazz fan. Okay, the Locked On Jazz. I'm sorry, the Utah Jazz, not the other thing I said. Hopefully he doesn't watch this one. But yeah, it's second toughest strength of schedule. Like, look, okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. Actually, you know what? I got to save it for the next segment. But the second day is Rams, Bills, December 8th. Clippers, Rockets at 6 o'clock, so same time difference. But here's the thing, right? The second toughest strength of schedule for the Clippers. But, listen to this. Okay, I think that was the metric. That was the metric that I was looking for. So, yeah, second toughest strength of schedule. I mean, that's not the best to hear, but here's the thing. The good news is last year we traveled 50,670 miles, which led the NBA in traveling miles. But this year, we're 5th most in the league, but it's about 5,000 miles less, which is a good decrease from last season. That's also coming from Justin Russo at Fly By Night on Twitter, who is taking that from the positive residual. But 5 of the Clippers' 8 toughest games of the season will take place before December. So we have a tough start to the season, but more chances of everybody being healthy at the start. So I actually think that's good. And we're tied with the Bucks for the most rest disadvantage games in the entire league with 13. So, and you know why that's relevant? Because our best player, is going to have to load manage and will probably miss back-to-backs. So, again, but that's an us problem, right? Our franchise player is Kawhi Leonard, and we have to deal with what comes with having him. And that is that. So, the disadvantages, we have tied for the most back-to-backs in the league. Second hardest strength of schedule according to positive residual. So, yeah, not great. Overall, not great, but no afternoon games. So take that for what it's worth. But coming up, going to be talking about why the afternoon games thing really pisses me off. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Right now, the Clippers have bottom 5 or 6, at the worst 6 odds to win the West. Honestly, I think that's a little low. They're sleeping on us. If we have a healthy Kawhi, I think our odds are as good as basically anyone besides OKC, Minnesota, and Denver. Visit FanDuel.com right now and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right. So to end the show, I want to address something about this whole schedule conversation. For me, it's a lot of crying and a lot of whining for things that we have absolutely no control over. We have our own stadium and we don't have any more afternoon games. I think it was going to be one or the other. Either we still have some afternoon games or we maybe don't have the most back-to-backs. We have one less than other teams. Like, whoop-de-freaking-do. I think the whole conversation around schedules is really soft. I'm not in the business of excuses. I've never been. Every team has an 82-game schedule. Some years, other teams have it harder than others. Or every year, some teams have it harder than others, I should say. You got to take the schedule that you're dealt and play ball. It's very simple. One game at a time. If you really are a championship team, the schedule shouldn't matter because you're the best team in the league. We are not a championship team. But apparently, the organization is still under the impression that this is a team that is contending for a championship. They haven't said it outright, but like if Kawhi Leonard is in his prime, which he kind of is, or on the twilight of it, and James Harden is, has never won a ring, and he's still an all-star caliber player, are you not trying to build for a championship or what? Do you believe this team is a championship or what? If the answer is yes, stop complaining. If the answer is no, I still think you should stop complaining because then it doesn't matter. What difference does it make? Like, I get it. People want to, I guess, make the playoffs at minimum. Like, to me, if you have to complain about the schedule, the afternoon game thing is really soft. In the playoffs, you play Sunday games at 12:30. On ABC, if you're a great team, you get nationally televised games at 12:30. You know when game 1 of the 2014 first round against the Warriors was? 12:30. I was there. It was on a Saturday on ABC. Do you know when the 12:30 game... do you know what game was 12:30 as well for the playoffs? Game 1 against the Mavericks. And you know what's funny? We lost both those games. That doesn't really help my point, does it? But that's an excuse. By the way, that's 2 totally different Clipper teams, 7 years apart. Just coincidence. But you have to win those games. How about this? 2014, Game 4 against the Thunder, that was an afternoon ABC 12:30 start when Darren Collison and Jamal Crawford and CP3 led us to come back against OKC. Led us to that comeback. I was there. 12:30 game. Moral of the story, got to stop whining about the schedule stuff. It's not in our control. It's not. If you want to complain about the basketball that's being done, the decisions that are being made by our team, by our front office, that's totally fair game. And you know what? I'm not going to police anybody from crying, but I just think it's soft. That's all I have to say. You can cry all you want. I do not tell people how to fan. I let people fan how they want to. I am very anti the policing. But I think it's ridiculous. Like, come on. Do you have confidence in the team or not? All these excuses, they're for the weak. Like, rest matters. The NBA schedule is grueling. It's 82 games. It's been like that for decades and decades. Like, this is how it is. This is the business of professional sports. This is why Kawhi Leonard's getting paid $50 million. $50 million. Like, this is a lot of money we're talking about. They get paid the big bucks to do this. They're the tip top of the world in terms of athletes. They're the 1%. So, stop with the whining. The only problem is because Kawhi has this load management thing, right? So that's 16 games we can just chalk off right away. But here's the thing. And by the way, I have no confirmation that he's for sure going to load manage. But everyone seems to be leaning that way, and I think it's going to be that way with the, given what happened last year. However, let's say he misses those 16 games on back-to-backs. That's still 66 games. He technically still qualifies and meets the threshold for All-NBA and the likes. But that's assuming there's no other injury of any sort and whatnot. So, as I said, my target for Kawhi is 60, and we'll do more episodes targeting games played and all that. But that is my initial reaction to the schedule. I'm not a big schedule guy. I look at things one game at a time. We play the Suns first. Remember 2 years ago when I first started my first season on this show, I looked at the first 10 games of the Clippers season, and I was like, we should go 8-2. It was such an easy start. We completely took it for granted. We BS'd those 2 games at OKC, and we were like 5-5 after 10 games, and that's when I knew that we weren't going to have a good season. And we didn't. And everybody gave me so much ished for those takes and saying I was a negative Nancy. That's when the whole thing around me being a whining negative Nancy started. But I just go with what I see. Anyway, let me know what you think of the schedule in the comments. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video on this channel. This was my 4th episode of the week. I promised you guys that I would do it because last week I only did 2, and it's 3 episodes a week in August. So let me know what you think of the key dates. Intuit Dome is officially open for business. Can't wait to go see an event. Can't wait to go try some of the food because everyone's saying that the food is great, including the pretzel. My boy Vlad, shout out to Vlad. He listens to the show, season ticket holder, said the pretzel was amazing. So I got to go see what's cooking over there. Is it better than Wetzel's? That's it for me in this one, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more. I posted a video of the Intuit Dome, my latest tour there, on my channel. It has 4,000 views, so check it out. And, of course, Locked On Clippers. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can get this thing up to 6K subs before the season. That's my goal. Let's get this up to 6,000 subs before the season begins. That would really make my day, make my year. Probably not, but it would really, really make me feel good. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.